The next game is going to be between Zoc and Farms. As we know, Farms took the 2 out of 3 win versus Jaguar, so now his next matchup is versus Zoc, who I think we had a bet in chat earlier would be one of the people who is advancing to the final. Let me detach the tongue from the roof of my mouth and actually enunciate and pronounce the words that I am trying to speak. Yes, that was repetitively redundant, but it will get me off on the right foot. All right, Farms in the top right is UEF. Now that we're done with all of that, he is going first land, second air, moving an engineer out to the hydro. Do not forget about your little token trophy down here. That deceptively small little totem pole is worth 300 mass that you definitely need to pick up. As you incorporate it in your build order, you will get better because it allows you to build more of the things. So second air for him, building some mass extractors with the ACU. Very similar build order for Zoc, who is also going second air, third air, and fourth air. So much air. He is Aeon though, so that is an important thing to maintain control of. Thank goodness he has the tools to do so. So the idea of this build is that your air factory starts building at about the same time as your hydro finishes over here, and then you're able to not power stall even as you're using the rest of this mass, both in the rocks directly outside your base and in the totem pole that you are grabbing. The forward engineer is going to run up to the center where we have a massive little build order. That is also very much of an oxymoron, a massive build order. I'm going to get off of these linguistic things. Going to pick up all 4 rocks, or at least attempt to, mass extractors, and a land factory in the center. It looks like the ACU is going to be walking to the middle though, so that we'll be able to eliminate that engineer post-haste, but it is going to be walking up quite a bit later. And the engineer is a faster traveler, so that engineer is probably going to be able to get all 4 rocks before the ACU can get there and stop it. Engineers moving out, manual reclaim is the name of the game. Got rocks here, there, and everywhere with mass extractors to build. Then we've got the other finger over there also queued up. On the south, we've got engineers moving to the right, roughly the same kind of thing, but we do have point defense scheduled at the mouth here. I don't know why that isn't placed up in front of the mass extractor. It would seem like it would be advantageous to save the mechs instead of letting the mechs die, but maybe they're hoping that the mechs will meet shield for the point defense. I am not entirely sure what the thought process is there on that one. On the north side, we do have 2 air factories completed, both of which are building interceptors, not a bomber in sight. Air scout across the base, also got 2 air factories producing for Zoc, who is also laying in the power grid for his next air factory. Then on this side, does not look like we've got any plans for an additional one. There's our bomber of the day that we were looking for, 61% complete, and that air factory is going to be queued to the... Nope, it is not queued anywhere. It is queued directly in front of the air factory, so manual control all the way. Zoc, on the other hand, is streaming his air units across to attempt and get a factory lock. Are you practicing the alphabet, he says. Oh my goodness. Farms, you gotta stop power stalling, bro. You gotta stop. You're gonna turn into me one of these days, and you're going to regret it mightily. Alright, air engagement in the center. 4 interceptors versus 1. And then that bomber is going to get shot down nearly immediately. Interceptors moving over to catch it. And they're going to snag it before it even makes it back to the base, I think. So that's going to be a strong air win for Zoc, and that is one of the dangers of going for the early bomber. No, I may have spoken too soon. We've actually got 6 interceptors versus 3 now, thanks to the pickup on that Inti that was chasing the bomber. So win for Farms in the air game, and Zoc needs to pull his interceptors back and change those move orders. There it is, so that he doesn't continue to stream interceptors to their deaths like he is currently doing. So ACU is moving up to the front now. Engineers picking up the last of the rocks. Looks like we are going to have a bit of a mass advantage towards Zoc. 1400 reclaim at the earliest portion of the game versus 1000. There's not a ton of reclaim, but like I've said before, every single little bit helps. And if you can gain just 900 or 1000 mass, that's what? a couple dozen or a dozen tanks or so. That's a T2 mass extractor. It's quite a few things that can put you substantially ahead of your opponent. Looks like Zoc is going for a 4th air factory. One of the big disadvantages that he's going to have in this game is that none of his units, other than the designated cruiser and anti-air boat at T1, have anti-air. So his navy is incredibly vulnerable to air if he cannot maintain control versus farms. So that's going to be one of his top priority, is out spamming interceptors versus his opponent. We've got the bomber headed in there, going to pick up the kill on the radar, and that NG stuck. What on earth? Tank. Now he's microing. A single hit from the Aurora though, and it's down. Actually, that was 2 hits, so I was mistaken, but that Aurora is going to survive with a measly 8 HP. Bomber going to come in for the run, drop, and there is no dodge. So tank goes boom. Looks like the interceptor is rapidly catching up in count. We've got 11 inties versus 9, thanks to the couple of kills that happened right there. So Farms is going to be put on his back foot as far as air production is concerned. We've got 3 air factories, one of which is building a transport, versus what is 4, but he does not have scouted. That scout is going to pick it up, I think. No, it is not. So he needs to get a scout over his opponent's base to realize what is going on and try to prevent it, because otherwise the air control is going to slip out of his grasp very rapidly indeed. First T1 sub out. That's going to run over to this edge and try to prevent any frigates from leaving the base, as a bomber picks up another raiding Aurora and a Spirit. Going to do a little damage to that engineer, both from the friendly fire from the bomber and from the Spirit itself. But you know, 1 DPS does not really get you very far. Transport out for Farms, headed for the south expansion, same as the ACU is headed up for Zoc to the north expansion. So both of these guys are going to attempt to secure on the mexes. Zoc has got tanks over on this side though, so that's going to put a little bit of a damper on Farms' party. That is a UEF transport, so the first attempt was shot down by the interceptors, was not able to get the expansion, and now if the second drop is successful, the tanks will shoot up the engineers and prevent them from building. Zoc doing an excellent job of denying that space. Farms, though, has got 4 mass extractors on the island, so it's not going to really change the economy balance of the game, having these tanks over here, unless Zoc is able to actually get those mass extractors and keep them. Looks like, as far as inti count goes, Zoc is about doubling him. That's going to be 22 versus 13. So very nearly so. But we've now got a situation where Navy is in peril. We've got 2 subs and a frigate versus 2 frigates and 1 sub. However, we do have a torpedo defense online in the home base, so Zoc is not going to give that up very easily. T1 bomber raiding over on the left, going to try to pick up a couple of things, but is not going to be super successful thanks to the interceptors that are not even going to kill the bomber and are instead going to run the other way. Are you really going to get the mass extractor kill? Oh, yep, he is. But there is an engineer right over there that will take care of that business. Looks like Zoc has got engineers over on the right-hand side as well now. Transport dropped them there just a moment ago. And he's also moved up and is killing off the land factory that Farms has got on the front line. So right now, the map control advantage does go to Zoc as well as the air control. Navy is about a 50-50 coin flip. I don't know what other kind of coin flip there is, but there you have it. And the eco is actually favoring Farms, or at least it was until Zoc built all those mass extractors, thanks to Farms having 3 T2 mass extractors in his base and very nearly a 4th. Only 1 on the other side of the map. The air engagement is of course going to favor Zoc, even with bad micro. The numbers were too disadvantageous. Looks like Farms is calling out the easy win for himself. Always easy after air win. That's right. Alright, so full control goes to Zoc. I would expect, yes, a T2 air shift at this point, and then gunships to go for raiding. Because if you're able to get the gunships out, there is no way to get enough anti-air up on every portion of the map to guard against the gunship raiding. You could go T2 and try to get a cruiser out, but that's going to put you at a disadvantage versus your opponent's Navy. Looks like you know how to play this, cheater. Oh, that sounds like something that, crap, what's his name? Maverick. That sounds like something Maverick would say. Zoc is moving back in the base ever so slightly. Farms trying to wall off his section. I don't think that Farms is at the disadvantage that he thinks he is, other than the air game. Looks like the 4th mass extractor is going for an upgrade for Zoc. He saw the advantage that he took and he's taking the opportunity to increase his eco. Farms, of course, has all 4 T2, and then he's also got 2 more T2 on this side. If he's able to hold this edge and not let units pull in, and this edge as well, where he does have a T1 point defense, the absolute bane of the Aurora's existence, he might be okay. T2 gunship coming in, trying to harass the commander out of that upgrade. No, just killing off the build power, and then he's going to go after the mass extractors in the area. So what Farms is doing is he's trying to consolidate. He's building his T2 mass extractors close to the base. He's trying to get in a relatively defensible position, but I think that he needs to devote far more build power to air, because that is currently what is hurting him so badly. Farms is now building T1 point defense. What? There's only 3 engineers over there. Just walk over and kill them. Alright, T1 anti-air, that looks a little more like it. So tanks moving in, frigates trying to harass those Auroras. Should be pretty dang successful since they are extremely mass efficient at dealing with hover units. Then on the north, we've got a loss of a mass extractor. And T2 gunships moving in for mass extractor number 3. But Farms is going to be able to bring interceptors to bear on that threat and eliminate it. Zoc is having some issues with interceptors running out of fuel. We've got a dozen out of fuel, a dozen with fuel, and Farms, while he may only have 11 inties, it's going to be a much more even air engagement since he can choose which group to hit. Well done there on the recovery. Looks like we've got a little bit of a problem in Navy though. Farms is about to get his base invaded. We've got 4 T1, 5 T1 subs, and a frigate, which will more than be enough to overwhelm this amount of defenses. He is building a torpedo launcher, and he's already got an anti-air turret. So if he can get the torp launcher up, meat shielded by the factories, it might be okay. We're down to 3 T1 subs, and those are probably going to go down. Yes, they are going to go down to the torpedo defense that has now been completed. This T2 mass extractor, though, is a lost cause, and that's going to put Farms definitely on the weaker side of eco things. He is power stalling like all hell. Ah, getting the TAC missile launcher. That's what that was all about. So 47 mass per tick to 93 mass per tick. However, he might be able to make the difference in this game by TAC missiling this base into oblivion. We've got all the T2 mass extractors that can be hit. We've got a T2 power generator that can be hit. Does he have intel? He does. So as long as he places his TACs, there's the firing pattern. As long as he places his TACs carefully, he should be able to make a huge difference with this. There comes the TAC on the T2 PGen, which is going to kill the T2 engineer. Oh, dearie, dear me. That is bad. We've got attack defense up now, but not soon enough. Drastic hit on the air factory, but it is not going to die, and now the attack defense is up in front. Very quick reaction from Zoc. Well done on that part, but Farms is going to move forward and start TAC missiling the rest of this base. There's T2 engineers being produced, which of course are going to start building the TMD that is necessary to cover this base. That's the one disadvantage of Aeon. They have teeny tiny defense range. It is of course going to pop because there's attack missile passing. Impact on the land factory, saving that mechs from certain doom. Zock's gonna rebuild it as quickly as possible because he knows it can still protect it. Then we've got impact on the farm mass extractor. More attack missiles coming in, I am sure, shortly, which should kill off these two. That is a bit of a conundrum for Zock to deal with, and it is going to knock him back just a little bit on eco. But looking at the rest of the map, the control that is available to Zock and the lesser eco of farms, I just don't see how this is going to work out. We've also got these tanks moving in, taking out a couple more T2 mass extractors that farms absolutely cannot afford to lose. The attack defense is up just in time. No more attack missiles will reach there, but we do have two T2 mexes on the outside edge that will die. Actually, 3 and 5. So this is now queued where they can run over there and get those mass extractors. Alright, T1 tanks trying to respond to the Aurora threat, but obviously if you don't have enough to steamroll the entire force, Auroras will pick you off for an eternity as they kite out of your range. Another T2 mass extractor going down. Farms is going to get knocked down to about 40 mass per tick income as T2 gunships come in, kill off the radar, the point defense, and more mass extractors on the right-hand side, freeing up the passageway for more units to come towards the north. Interceptor's going to react very late indeed, and now Farms also has some units that are starting to struggle with fuel. That Interceptor taking that TML for the T2 mechs. I did not see that. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. Real-time collision mechanics for the win. There's the kill on that other T2 mechs, and now there is a destroyer out in the water that's going to force Farms back onto land. Of course, the Exodus class has a lot of torpedoes. I think 175-ish in total. You do not want to be near one of those in the water. They can go toe-to-toe with a T3 Sub-Hunter from the Seraphim. As long as they get in range, they will either mutual or survive with a sliver of HP versus the T3 subs due to their overwhelming damage and their reasonably good torpedo defense. Interceptor's got to pick up off the ground. We've got tanks coming in, trying to be AA. Farms asking why. Safety measure. What now? What now? You might want to make some power in mid. Why? A safety measure. He went all T2 mass extractors in the center. What on earth? There's a freaking T2 Navy. Why are you doing that to yourself? You're just going to lose them. Of course, I think he was planning on losing his base, so he's trying to get eco up where he can. But that is not going to work out very well for him as his frigates slowly get whittled down by the T1 artillery on the other side of the hill. I think that we can conclusively say that Farms has lost this game. Zock is at 111 eco versus 36. And it looks like Zock has got 5,000 reclaim versus 5,000 reclaim. So we can't even say that Farms might reclaim his way out of the problem. Let me bring chat back up here. Nope, nothing important was said. You should just walk your ACU over and try to get into the base. There goes the transport. Nothing doing there. Looks like 3 Exodus class out in the water, so I think that he would be dead before he got to the shore if he tried to walk, and that's probably the point that Zock was trying to make. T2 mech's gonna go down. Farms is now in for a bit of a pain. Let's see exactly how far these things can reach. They can reach the entire island, so he cannot hide from all of the destroyers. If one destroyer goes in each corner, then they can hit the entire area, and he's done. Wrecked in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, he's not wrecked. I don't think that he's wrecked. This is nice. He's losing his mexes in his base now. Some bug, nothing happened. This is where you try to Your destroyer died. Oh, he tack missiled the destroyer. Nice. Well, here comes the wall art. This is the official acceptance of defeat. No, you gotta control K the factory so you can connect all of the wall sections. I didn't notice with all the destroyers I have. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. That must have been a template. Yes, it is. So the template overlaps with some of this stuff and can't be built. There it is. Yeah, I had to control K the you had to control K the factory in order to get the stuff laid in. You're practicing alphabet, but I'm still at counting. Please no, bully. I love it. I love it. 4K, 3K, 2K HP, and there's the control K. Well played indeed. Nicely done. Zoc just completely owned that. And that is the advantage to having a good build order and a good plan. Eye of the Storm is probably one of the most difficult maps for me to play. I know it might not be other people's Achilles heel, but I like to watch games on this map because it gives me some more ideas with how to deal with what's going on. Well played from both these guys though. Let's go see what the next game has in store for us. That is gonna wrap everything up for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like and share it with someone. If you want to support the channel, catch the streams, or join the Discord, check out the links in the description. Thank you all for being at least partially insane, and I will see you in the next one.